Oh, I'm gonna get a lot of hate on this one. Hey everyone, welcome to the top 10 list. Here's my top 10 worst Nicholas Sparks movies. Yes, I'm gonna be talking about Nicholas Sparks. I know that's a very touchy subject because I personally do know a lot of women who love Nicholas Sparks. They love his books and they just adore his movies. They eat all that shit up. They just love it. A lot of women do. Men, on the other hand, don't really. They really don't. But a lot of people love Nicholas Sparks movies and his books. I, on the other hand, do not. I have never read any of his books because his movies are enough torture for me. I don't need to spend hours or days reading these shitty books. But I really don't like Nicholas Sparks. I don't like a single movie he's made. I think he's made 11 movies, but one of them is not going to be on this top 10 list. And spoilers, that one movie is The Notebook. I actually don't despise The Notebook. I actually like Gina Rowlands, James Garner, Ryan Gosling, and Rachel McAdams. I actually enjoy all four of their performances in The Notebook. I mean, I like the story or the writing, but the four leads were really good in the movie, so it was tolerable. But the rest of Nicholas Sparks movies are awful movies. They're all based off books. No, I never read the books. Like, please. But I've seen the movies, and they're torturous to watch. They are terrible movies, so let's count them down, shall we? Here's the top 10 worst Nicholas Sparks movies. Alright, coming at number 10 is Nights in Rodanthe. Yes, Richard Gere, Diane Lane. I love those two. They're great actors. Yes, they were great and awesome in the movie Unfaithful. A very mixed reviewed movie, but I actually enjoyed it. They're back again for Nights in Rodanthe, a very bland, very boring, and very uninteresting movie. This movie, I feel like Richard Gere and Diane Lane don't even want to be there. It's like they were just paid to be there. I bet they were, but it shows like they are so uninterested. Their characters are so bland, and their performances are so god-awful, and they lack in so much chemistry. Like, they had like chemistry in Unfaithful, even though it's about a couple who are cheating on each other, but I sensed the flair in the relationship. I sensed their chemistry in the movie. Because I could tell they liked each other, and they worked good together. In this movie, I felt like no one wanted to be here for this movie. I felt like this movie was just so terrible, they're just like, oh god, we gotta do this for a paycheck. We gotta get paid, so let's do this shitty script of a film. And it's terrible. It's a horrible movie, and it's just forgettable. I think that's why it's only number 10. It's a forgettable movie. Like, that's why I have it at number 10. It's god-awful, it's boring as shit, but at least I forgot about it, so it didn't piss me off that much. Coming number 9 is The Last Song. Yes, The Last Song. This is a movie people just defend. Anytime I say I don't like this movie, everyone's like, you just don't get it. You're just a man. You just don't like it because it's a chick flick or something. That is not it at all. This movie sucks. I really don't like this movie. I don't. I like one thing, though, about it. There is one thing that is good in The Last Song, and that is Greg Kinnear. Greg Kinnear gives a good performance. I enjoyed him. He was the more interesting character. If the whole movie was about Greg Kinnear, I would have probably even liked the movie. But unfortunately, it isn't. It's about Miley Cyrus, and she is awful in this movie. I'm not going to judge Miley Cyrus as a person. Just in this movie, she is terrible. And Liam Hemsworth, he's awful too. He's the shitty Hemsworth brother. He's not Chris Hemsworth. He's Liam Hemsworth. I don't mind him in Hunger Games, but he is awful. And he was dating Miley Cyrus in this movie, I think. And they didn't have good chemistry whatsoever. They were so terrible together. They lacked in a lot of chemistry. And for people who are dating, you really don't show it on film. It's like fucking Edward Cullen and Bella Swan. Yes, Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson. They were dating in Twilight, but they showed none of that chemistry in real life in the movie. That's what this movie does. It has terrible chemistry, terrible performances. It is so manipulative. This movie just manipulates its audience with its like music and its sadness and its sappiness and its sentimentality. It's just trying to be like this dramatic and powerful movie. And it's not. Just because there's a death scene and stuff doesn't make your movie an emotional impact. It doesn't make your movie powerful. If you have terrible writing, terrible acting, and still directing, your movie isn't very good and very powerful. So yeah, The Last Song is not a good movie. Some people defend that it is, but it isn't. Coming number 8 is A Walk to Remember. Yes, this is another movie people defend and say it's a good movie. I'm not gonna rip on this one. I'm just gonna say I don't like it. Shane West and Mandy Moore, they're not very good in this movie. Them two, period, aren't very good actors. I don't like Mandy Moore in anything she does. She's a good singer. I can give her that, but great of an actress. I don't count Tangled. She's good in Tangled, but it's because she's got a great singing voice and it matches the Rapunzel character. But any live action movie she did, she's not a very good actress. I don't think any of these two actors are very good, and the acting throughout the whole cast is just terrible. All these teenagers, well, they're like 30-year-olds playing teenagers, they're all terrible in this movie. This movie is so generic and so formulaic, and again, it does the last song. It tries to be manipulative with its music and its sadness and its sentimentality. It's like, oh, we're this powerful movie because there's a death scene. No. No. Terms of Endearment was sad. Yes, the death scene added to the sadness, but there's other things that made Terms of Endearment a sad movie. And plus, the death scene was done right. It was directed properly, because James L. Brooks, come on. Those movies, in Steel Magnolias is the same. They're sad for a reason, because they have good actors, good writing, good directing. A Walk to Remember doesn't have any of that. There's one thing I do like in this movie, and it's not really a compliment to the movie. It's a song. One of the songs in this movie is good, and it's not the ending song, the I always remember, you know, the stupid Mandy Moore song. I'm talking about the song she sings when she does the play, you know, she sings to Landon. Yes, I know the characters' names. The song she sings to him, that's a nice song, and they play it again, a guy sings it at the end credits and stuff. That's a nice song. I actually thought that song was pretty nice, but just because I like the song in the movie doesn't make the movie good, because A Walk to Remember is not a good movie. Coming number 7 is Message in a Bottle. Oh, this movie just annoys me. It has actors in this movie that I love. It has Robin Wright, Paul Newman, Robbie Coltrane, and Kevin Costner. And they're all terrible. The romance, the drama, the writing, everything is terrible. That's all I gotta say. I don't want to talk about this movie. What's the next one? Coming number 6 is Safe Haven. Yes, Safe Haven. Julian Hough and Josh Duhamel. And Kobe Smulders, too. And this movie tries to be more edgy. This is a Nicholas Sparks movie that actually tries to add, like, a thriller in its genre. It's not just a drama and a romance, but it's a crime thriller. It tries to add a lot of tension and some edge in a Nicholas Sparks movie. Yeah, they're not joking. They try to add edge and thrills to a Nicholas fucking Sparks movie. It's terrible. It's terrible. Josh Duhamel is embarrassingly awful. He's just there to look good. He's just there, oh, Josh Duhamel, he's a good-looking guy. Yeah, let's put him in the movie. And Julian Hough, again, she's a good singer. She's an awful actress. And the twist at the ending was beyond stupid. And I just hate this movie. This movie is just stupid. And it's one of the worst Nicholas Sparks movies, period. Coming number 5 is Dear John. Yes, Dear John. Amanda Seyfried and Channing Tatum. Two actors that I know can do good stuff. I've seen Amanda Seyfried do some good movies. I've seen Channing Tatum do a lot of great movies. God, they are so awkward in this movie. This movie is just awkward and uncomfortable to watch. That's why I hate it so much. I remember, I've only seen this movie once. I saw it in theaters when it came out. And it was so awkward and uncomfortable. The romance is awkward and uncomfortable. Some of the dialogue is so clunky. And the way these actors say the dialogue off the script is so awkward. This entire movie is awkward and just uncomfortable to watch. The romance is so bad and awkward. It's uncomfortable to watch. This movie is so dumb. It's so terrible. Channing Tatum is terrible. Amanda Seyfried is terrible. You know, about a soldier falling in love with a girl. He goes off to war. They make up, they break up, all that typical Nicholas Sparks sappy shit. Can't stand this movie. Dear John sucks. Coming number 4 is The Lucky One. Yes, Zac Efron. Okay. I don't hate Zac Efron. Like, he does some good movies. Me and Orson Welles is a good movie. I like him in the Neighbors movies. He can be a very good, talented actor. Even in liberal arts, he's briefly in it, but he's funny. Like, he can be a funny guy. This movie doesn't show his talent. He is awful. Yes, in this movie, he's like a drifter who walks across the whole state of the United States to get to a girl. who he doesn't even know. It's as creepy as it sounds, and oh my god. This movie almost does the safe haven route. It actually tries to put in like a crime story, almost like put some edge in this movie. It's sentimental, sappy, romantic drama, but it tries to put in something like tensionful and edgy at the ending of the third act, and it just fails across the board. It's just not an interesting or well-written movie, and it's so predictable and cliched, and it just sucks. Hate the lucky one. Clue number 3 is The Longest Ride. Yes, I reviewed this movie actually last year. I gave a pretty big review, so I'm not going to talk in depth about this movie, so I'm going to leave the link down below to my old review of The Longest Ride. I gave it an in-depth review about this movie. It's not a good movie. It is so long. Like, this movie feels like it doesn't end. It's like 2 hours and 15 minutes, and it feels like 4 fucking hours. It just doesn't end, and it's so boring and so unoriginal. I hated this movie. If you want to know my whole opinions of it, I'm going to leave the review in the down below. Check it out. I hated this movie. Come number 2 is The Best of Me. Yes, Michelle Monaghan and James Marsden. This movie also was so awkward and uncomfortable. I was never so bored in my life watching this movie. I think this movie came out in 2014. Oh my god, I want to sleep so bad during this movie. It was so boring and so unoriginal and so poorly directed, horribly structuralized, and the acting, oh my god, the acting in this movie is fucking terrible. Everything about this movie is terrible. The score is so generic. The editing is so choppy. It is horribly shot. Everything about this movie fails across the board. This was like in my top 3 least favorite movies of 2014. They did nothing great about this movie. This movie is not only a shitty Nicholas Sparks adaptation, but it is a shitty romantic movie and just a shitty movie, period. The Best of Me sucks. And the number 1 worst Nicholas Sparks movie is The Choice. Yes, The Choice just came out this year, and if it wasn't for Norm of the North, this would be the worst movie of the year. Norm of the North is still the worst movie, but this is like the silver medal of shit of 2016. Again, just like for The Longest Ride, I'm going to leave a link down below. I did a whole review of this movie and how much I hated this movie. I'm going to leave the link down below. Check that review out, and I hated this movie. 1 out of 10 for sure. The chemistry between these two are awful. Teresa Palmer, I like Teresa Palmer. She's terrible. Tom Welling, I like Tom Welling. He's terrible. This movie is so clunky. It felt like it was supposed to be like a 3-hour movie because there's like 4 different stories going on, but they trimmed it down to like 1 hour and 40 minutes, and it became really bloated and clunky, and it didn't make a lick of sense, and you didn't feel anything for these characters, and I think this is the worst adaptation of a Nicholas Sparks book. I could not stand this movie, and I think it is the worst Nicholas Sparks movie. So yeah, that's my top 10 worst Nicholas Sparks movies. So yeah, in the comment section below, please tell me what is your order of the top 10 worst Nicholas Sparks movies. Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like this video, please like, subscribe to this channel, and join the dark side.